All right, so turmeric. You know it. You probably even have some in your kitchen right now. It's that super bright yellow spice, the one that gives curry its color. But did you know it could be the answer to, soothing those achy joints?
That's right. And we're actually seeing a lot more research these days really looking into its potential, like as an actual therapeutic treatment.
And that's what we're going to dive into today.
Awesome.
We're going to break down this meta-analysis. It looked at a bunch of clinical trials for turmeric and curcumin. Curcumin is like its active compound to figure out how well they work for arthritis. So the study's called, and get this, efficacy of turmeric extracts and curcumin for alleviating the symptoms of joint arthritis. A systematic review and meta-analysis of randomized clinical trials. It's published in the Journal of Medicinal Food. So this might be something you've been wondering about yourself. Maybe you've heard different things about turmeric, some good, some bad. Or maybe you actually deal with arthritis. Or, hey, maybe you're just really into natural remedies. Whatever your reason, we're going to break it all down and help you understand what the science actually says.
And a meta-analysis is a great way to do that, because it's not just based on one tiny study. It combines data from so many studies, randomized clinical trials, to give you a much bigger picture of what the benefits could be. It's a lot more reliable that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. So before we get too deep into what they found, can you set the stage for us? What exactly were the researchers focused on?
So they were looking specifically at joint arthritis. That includes the big ones, osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. And to understand the results, it helps to know a little about what a randomized clinical trial is. So imagine this. You've got a group of people with arthritis, right? Yeah. And you randomly split them up into two groups. One group gets turmeric or curcumin, and the other group, they get a placebo, which is like a dummy pill, basically.
So like a sugar pill.
Yeah, pretty much. And this way, you know that if they see any effects, it's actually because of the turmeric and not just random chance.
Got it. So they made sure the data was legit. Okay, so the big question. Did turmeric actually work?
Well, this is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
So they found that turmeric and curcumin, they actually did lead to a significant reduction in pain compared to the placebo. And they even use a specific pain scale, it's called the PVAS, to measure it properly.
Whoa, are you saying turmeric is like a miracle cure now?
Not quite. I mean, it's definitely promising, but you can't think of it as a replacement for conventional treatments. You know what I mean? There are still some details we need to cover before you run out and buy all the turmeric.
Okay, details matter. Let's hear them. What doses were they looking at, and how did turmeric stack up against, regular pain meds?
So they found that the effective dose was around 1,000 milligrams of curcumin a day.
Okay.
Which, you're not going to get that just from sprinkling some turmeric on your food.
Yeah, so supplements are probably the way to go if you're aiming for that kind of dose. That makes sense. What about the comparison to regular pain meds? How'd it do?
Well, get this. The meta-analysis actually found that turmeric and curcumin, they were about as effective as standard pain medications. At reducing pain, I mean. But there's a catch.
Uh-oh, I knew there had to be a but somewhere in there. What's the catch?
Well, the thing is, we need more data to be absolutely sure. Only 8 trials actually fit the criteria for this meta-analysis. It's definitely enough to see some patterns, but the sample sizes weren't that big, and the quality of the studies, they kind of varied.
So it sounds like the jury's still out, huh? More research needed.
Exactly. The findings are really promising, don't get me wrong, but we need more solid studies with larger groups of people to, confirm for sure how well it works over time and if it's safe, over long periods.
Totally. But even with those limitations, it's pretty cool to have this level of scientific support for a natural remedy.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
I mean, it could be a really great tool for people, right? Maybe alongside other treatments, of course.
Absolutely. And there's one more thing from the study I found really encouraging. They didn't find any evidence of publication bias.
Hold on, what does that even mean? And why is that good news?
Okay, so imagine this. You're trying to see if a new treatment works.
Right.
But only the studies with positive results, they're the ones that get published. That creates a really biased picture. It's like only hearing from the people who loved a movie, but never the ones who hated it. So the fact that there was no publication bias here, it actually suggests that those positive findings, they're probably legit. It's not just selective reporting.
Okay, that makes the results even more credible. That's fascinating. But let's bring this back to our listeners for a second. Why should you care about any of this? Maybe you're dealing with arthritis or you know someone who is, and you're wondering if turmeric could help.
Right, exactly. And what we've learned today is that turmeric and curcumin, they show some real potential for helping with arthritis pain. But more research is definitely needed to be totally sure about these findings. It's not just about masking the pain, though. We could be talking about actually addressing, the root cause of the problem.
Oh, that's interesting. So you're thinking about inflammation.
Right.
Which is a huge part of arthritis, right? No matter what kind you're talking about. Osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. So anything that can help with that inflammation, that's got to make a difference.
Exactly. And that's why we need to look beyond just the pain scores. We need to understand how turmeric actually works in the body, what's happening at the molecular level, what pathways is it affecting? These are the big questions researchers are really trying to figure out now.
So this meta-analysis, it's kind of like a first step, huh? It tells us that turmeric is worth exploring further, but there's definitely more to the story.
Right. It's a good foundation,
right,
but we've got so much more to learn. And that's what's so exciting about this. There's all this new research coming out about how turmeric and curcumin interact with our biology. It's like a whole new world.
Ooh, give us a sneak peek. What are some of the things researchers are uncovering?
Well, for example, there's more and more evidence showing that curcumin can actually block certain enzymes, the ones that contribute to inflammation. One of them, it's called COX-2, and it's actually the same enzyme that some common anti-inflammatory drugs target, like ibuprofen, for example.
So you're saying curcumin could be working in a similar way to those drugs, but it's all natural.
That's the idea. It's not just about COX-2, though. It seems like curcumin actually has a broader approach. It influences different pathways that are all involved in inflammation.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of like a conductor, leading a whole orchestra of molecular activity.
That is such a great analogy. It makes you really appreciate how intricate these interactions are. It's pretty amazing that this little spice could have all this potential hidden inside it.
It really is remarkable. And it goes to show why it's so important to study these traditional remedies, from a scientific perspective. Who knows what other incredible therapies we might discover just hiding in plain sight.
I love that. Okay, but let's be real. Even if turmeric turns out to be this, super potent anti-inflammatory, it's not a magic bullet for arthritis, right?
Of course not.
Yeah.
Arthritis is a complex condition. There's so many factors involved. It's really unlikely that any single treatment, natural or pharmaceutical, is going to completely get rid of the disease.
Right. But it could be part of the solution, right? Alongside exercise and physical therapy and maybe even some conventional medication.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to talk to your doctor about any complementary therapies you're thinking about or any alternative therapies. They can help you figure out a plan that's personalized to your needs and, your medical history.
Always good advice. It's all about teamwork. Okay, so we've talked about the good stuff, the potential benefits of turmeric for arthritis. But are there any risks or downsides that people should be aware of?
That's a great question. Like anything else, even natural substances, turmeric can have some side effects. Some people get digestive issues, things like an upset stomach or diarrhea, especially if they take high doses.
So start low and slow and just, see how your body reacts.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that turmeric can interact with certain medications too. For instance, it can actually thin the blood. So it's not recommended for people who are on blood thinners already. Again, talking to your doctor is key here.
Got it. Safety first. So it seems like there's a lot to be excited about when it comes to turmeric for arthritis. But like with any health claim, it's smart to approach it with a little bit of skepticism and, look for that solid evidence from science.
Absolutely. It's so important to be a critical thinker. Don't just believe everything you read on the internet or what you hear from well-meaning friends. Look for reliable sources like the meta-analysis we've been discussing.
Exactly. And research never stops. What we know today, it could change tomorrow as new studies come out. That's the cool thing about science. It's constantly evolving.
That is so true. Speaking of evolving research, did you know that there's a ton of interest in developing curcumin, but making it more bioavailable?
Okay, you lost me. Bioavailable, what does that mean?
So bioavailability just means how much of a substance your body can actually absorb and use, And curcumin on its own, it's not very bioavailable. A lot of it just passes through your system. It doesn't get absorbed.
So even if you're taking a high dose, you might not be getting all the benefits.
Exactly. That's why scientists are working on ways to make it easier to absorb. They're trying things like combining curcumin with other compounds like piperine. Piperine is found in black pepper. Or they're encapsulating it in special formulations.
So they're trying to make curcumin more efficient so our bodies can actually use it better. That's pretty cool. What does all this mean for, someone listening who might be thinking about trying turmeric for arthritis?
Well, it means that we could have even better, more targeted turmeric-based therapies in the future. But for now, it's really important to pick high-quality supplements from brands you trust.
And, like always, talk to your doctor.
You got it. It's all about making informed choices about your health.
Well said. Okay, before we wrap things up, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier. The fact that this meta-analysis, it only included 8 trials. That seems kind of low, doesn't it? Does that, affect how we interpret things?
You make a great point. It does mean we have to be, a little cautious about applying these findings to everyone.
So it's possible that how well turmeric works, it might depend on things like your age, maybe your genetics, or even how bad your arthritis is.
Right. And it's also important to remember that the studies in this meta-analysis, they were pretty short-term. We need more studies that look at the long-term effects to see how turmeric affects arthritis symptoms over time.
So it's kind of a waiting game, huh? We've got these promising clues, but we need more research to really fill in the gaps.
That's how science works. It's all about discovery. We build on what we know and keep refining our understanding.
And that's what makes it so exciting. There's always something new to learn. We've covered a lot of ground today, the potential benefits, the risks of turmeric for arthritis, the science behind how it works, and how to be a smart healthcare consumer. But I feel like there's one more piece of the puzzle missing: lifestyle.
Oh, you're so right. That's such a critical aspect of managing arthritis, and it's one that often gets overlooked.
It's not just about what you put in your body. It's about how you use it, how you move it, and even how you handle stress. That all plays a role.
It absolutely does. Things like regular exercise, maintaining a healthy weight, making sure you're getting enough sleep, those can all make a huge difference in how much pain you experience and how well you can function overall.
So even if you are taking turmeric or other supplements, it's not like you can just sit back and wait for a miracle. You've got to be proactive, take care of your body as a whole.
It's about synergy. When you combine a healthy lifestyle with those targeted therapies, you create this powerful force for managing arthritis and, just improving your overall quality of life.
That's such an important message. It's not about a quick fix. It's a journey. It's about self-care and empowerment.
Well said. It's about taking ownership of your health. It gives you a sense of agency and well-being. It's more than just, relieving symptoms.
It's about taking your life back from arthritis. And that's incredibly powerful.
You said it. And it's so inspiring to see people taking control of their health and figuring out ways to live well, even with arthritis. It's not an easy condition, but it doesn't have to define who you are.
That's so true. And there's this whole movement now towards empowering patients, giving them the tools they need to be active participants in their own care. It's a real shift from that old way of doing things.
It's about working together, like a team,
Yeah.
to find the best solutions.
Exactly. And that includes being open to all the possibilities, whether it's conventional medicine or those complementary therapies like turmeric or lifestyle changes or maybe a combination of all of them.
It's about finding what works for you because everyone's different. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. And that's why having a good, open, honest conversation with your doctor is just so important. They can help you navigate all the complexities of managing arthritis and come up with a plan that aligns with your goals and values.
Speaking of goals, I think it's important to remember that, managing arthritis, it's not just about reducing pain. It's about improving your overall quality of life.
Oh, you're so right. It's about being able to do the things you love, whether that's playing with your grandkids or, going for hikes or even just getting out of bed without feeling all stiff and sore.
It's about getting back your mobility, your independence, your joy.
Exactly. And that's what a holistic approach can do. It's not about treating the symptoms. It's about caring for the whole person, their physical, emotional, and mental well-being.
And sometimes the things that make the biggest difference, they're actually the simplest. Like getting enough sleep, managing your stress, maybe through mindfulness, or connecting with others who understand what you're going through.
Those things are so powerful, and they often get overlooked when people are searching for a quick fix.
It's about slowing down, really paying attention to what your body's telling you, making self-care a priority.
It's like this radical act of self-love, especially in a world that's always pushing busyness and productivity.
Yeah.
You know?
So as we wrap up this deep dive into turmeric and arthritis, what's the one thing you want to leave our listeners with?
I think it's this. Knowledge is power. When you understand your condition, you can make better choices for your health.
Yes. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Explore your options. And speak up for yourself.
You're your own best advocate, absolutely. And remember, you're not in this alone. There are so many people out there dealing with arthritis, finding ways to not just cope, but to really thrive.
And if you're looking for good information, reliable information, and support, we've got some great resources linked in the show notes for this episode.
So keep learning, keep exploring, and keep moving forward. Your health and well-being, they're worth it.
I love that. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into turmeric and arthritis. And remember, stay curious, stay informed, and stay empowered.
Yeah, it's really inspiring to see people taking charge and, finding ways to live well with arthritis. I mean, it's not easy, but it doesn't have to rule your life.
Exactly. And there's this growing movement. It's all about giving patients, the information they need to be more involved in their own care. It's a big change from how things used to be.
Oh, yeah, like back in the day, the doctor was the boss, told you what to do, and you just did it. No questions asked.
Exactly. But now it's more like a partnership, right? Working together to find the best approach.
Yeah, like a team effort. Exactly. And that means being open to all the options, right? Conventional medicine, those complementary therapies like we've been talking about with turmeric, lifestyle changes, or even like a mix of everything.
It's all about finding what works best for you because everyone's different, right? There's no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to something as complex as arthritis.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why that open communication with your doctor is just so crucial. They can help you navigate all those options and create a plan that's, really tailored to your needs and your goals.
That makes a lot of sense. And speaking of goals, I think it's important to remember that managing arthritis, it's not just about getting rid of pain. It's about so much more than that.
It really is. It's about being able to live your life to the fullest. Being able to do the things that bring you joy, whether that's spending time with your grandkids or going for hikes or, even just getting out of bed in the morning without feeling like a rusty robot.
It's about reclaiming your mobility, your independence, and your joy.
Exactly. And that's what a holistic approach is all about. It's not just about treating the symptoms in isolation. It's about looking at the whole person, their physical, emotional, and mental well-being.
And sometimes the simplest things can make the biggest difference, like getting a good night's sleep, managing your stress, maybe through mindfulness, or even just connecting with others who get what you're going through.
Those things are so powerful, and they often get overlooked when people are, just focused on finding a quick fix.
It's about slowing down, tuning in to what your body's telling you, and really making self-care a priority.
Yeah. It's almost like an act of rebellion in a way. Like in this world, it's always pushing us to go, go, go. It's like saying, no, I'm going to prioritize my well-being.
I love that. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of turmeric and arthritis, what's the one message you want to leave our listeners with today?
I would say, remember that knowledge is power. The more you understand about your condition, the better equipped you are to make good choices for your health.
That's so true. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Explore different options and speak up for yourself. You are your own best health advocate.
Absolutely. And remember, you're not alone in this. There's a whole community of people out there navigating the same challenges, finding ways to not just cope, but to truly thrive.
And if you're looking for reliable information and support, we've got some great resources for you. Just check out the show notes for this episode.
Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep moving forward. You deserve to feel your best.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Remember to stay curious, stay informed, and stay empowered.